And we have, Rob, a 9-year-old daughter, Lindy, and she does not get sick very often. But, the flu was going around the last few months. And what I thought was just so neat, and she's been in to see Davis Mellick in Evans at one of your offices, and he takes great care of her. And, she's been swabbed before for COVID and, when it's real important. But in that case, we went on to an app. Mm-hmm. I think it's called the Spruce app, and then we had a nice dialogue back and forth. I mean, what doctor in town does that? Takes the time to actually listen to what you have to say, ask questions about the symptoms, and then make a recommendation and save us time.
Right, and that's not. And I will to the business folks out there. They're going to say, well, that's dumb business. Why don't you bring them in? Well, that's the whole point of our business model being turned around, because I'm not answering questions to people via Spruce, via text messaging, or offering care that is less of a pain in the neck because I'm a nice guy. I'm doing it because actually it's best for my business. Truthfully, if you're paid on a monthly basis, well, then I don't have to worry about bringing people into my office to make money. I like to say there are 4 motivations in a typical primary care practice from a financial standpoint, from a business standpoint. Number 1 is that they bring you in for every little thing, whatever issue. Mm-hmm. The second is that that you are as sick as possible. The sicker you are, the higher bill code that they can do. The third is that they do as many procedures on you as they possibly can, because you get paid by procedures. And the fourth is that they spend as little time with you as possible. None of those are what our patients want, and none of those are conducive to quality care. The truth is, access is far more important. The fact that our patients, I had one young guy said, I got a freaking doctor in my pocket all the time. It's great. And the fact is that if I can handle flu, which you don't necessarily need to come into the office to handle a lot of these things. In fact, I found that 3/4 of the care that I was seeing in my previous practice before I left and started doing this, that 3/4 of it didn't require an office visit. So if I can cut those office visits way back, well, guess what? A bunch of things happen. Number 1, I don't have as many patients in my office, which is nicer for me. Number 2, that suddenly I have availability in my schedule that if you do need to come in, that we offer pretty much same day things. If you call in the morning or send a message early on, we can handle things right away. So it's really offers that there's 0 wait times for that reason, and the quality of life and the quality of care and the time that we can spend with patients, all of that goes up.
Yeah, and I'm just going to jump on and say, why is that important on insurance, right? So you brought up a point, concierge versus direct primary care. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but direct primary care, to Rob's point, does not utilize insurance, right? If he as a quarterback says, hey, you need to have an MRI, he will actually refer them out to a quality center that may be low cost, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can use your insurance, right, for those. But ultimately, concierge physicians are still utilizing insurance. True. So you're paying a monthly fee to have access to this physician, but then the procedures that they're running and the tests that they're running are running through your insurance. So ultimately, we're not controlling any costs. No. Right? You have access to them, which is wonderful, but they're still driving up your cost because they're running procedures, maybe unnecessarily. I mean, I don't know if they're getting compensated on procedures, mm-hmm. but ultimately you, as a consumer, all you have is a copay, right? You just pay $50 every time you see them, and then they run all their tests, and you get an EOB behind the scenes that said you owed $50, but these are all the tests that ran, and this was the cost. Well, all that cost hits your insurance and your claims, which ultimately affects the employer's premiums. So the beauty of direct primary care is if they're not running it through insurance, they're still getting the data and they can communicate what is going on, but we're not filing claims, which is ultimately lowering costs of care behind the scenes to the employers.